It sucks when you see your friend look scared.
Yeah.
Because you look at, and then you even look at the flight attendant for reassurance. The flight attendant was like this, and I was like, oh fuck.
No.
You see him doing this.
Yeah.
So we were freaking out, and then going down, I was like, we're going to crash. Takes back off midair, and I was like,
we got
you fucking Top Gunned it?
Yeah.
You Top Gunned it on a commercial flight?
Subscribe to the podcast, KFC Radio on YouTube.
Bang.
Who are you talking about?
Well, Michael B. Jordan wasn't here, and he wouldn't see children or people he loved during Black Panther because he wanted to shut himself off from love to play Killmonger.
Shut up.
I know, it's annoying. Actors, just fucking act.
That shit is so stupid.
It's a lot.
Anthony Hopkins has the best line ever. He goes, "Have you tried acting?"
I think
It's Laurence Olivier.
Oh, yeah.
But Anthony Hopkins was like...
So
Yeah.
if you're a good actor, you don't need to do all that. You can just do it.
It's why we were talking about when you walked in that Brian Cox from Succession talked about how Jeremy Strong's the same way, where he's like, he's going to burn out.
Which one is that?
Kendall.
Yeah.
He's great, but yeah, it's one of those things where, like, hearing actors talk about this shit, like, there's coal miners. Like, who gives who gives a fuck?
And
Strong
like, you're also in a
actually-
comic book movie, man. Like,
I know.
I know it's like an intense part, but we're not talking about like Schindler's
Yeah.
List here, dude.
In
It's
that-
still a popcorn movie.
The Jeremy Strong interview, Jeremy Strong says, I've never met Brian Cox. It's like, shut the fuck
Oh,
up.
God.
Yes, you have.
Wow.
He's
drives me
He's like, Kendall
insane.
Roy's met Brian Cox. I haven't. I don't really know Brian
He's
Cox.
fucking. I do love him on that show, though.
He's good,
great,
but
he's great.
Succession's
but
probably
so
my
is
favorite
like
show.
the other 10 people on the show who don't do all that shit, who just show up
That's
and they go like,
true.
"Hey, how you doing? Oh, act. Okay."
You just
action.
thank God this guy got a role, because without he's just that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's,
so
like, more
annoying.
dangerous.
You know what I
Yeah.
watched recently?
Are we on the air right now?
I don't. Are we
Yeah,
on the
fuck
air?
it, let's
go. I watched The Judge with Robert Downey Jr., which is a great movie. It's not a great movie, but it's a good movie. And Jeremy Strong plays his retarded brother. And he's
Damn.
like,
There you go. I mean,
He's
hey,
like,
listen,
oh,
the
that's
guy
one
gets
where
results.
That's the one where he just showed up and like weeped in the background.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
wasn't- He wasn't supposed to be there, but he took it so seriously. That's why I'm like, just thank God he made it.
Yeah, like that would have been the most annoying dude in the world.
Exactly.
If that's just like the guy in your friend group. Oh, like yeah, that's really the only reason you are tolerable, dude, is because we like your show. Otherwise, you straight up suck.
Dude, I actually saw him once. I had like gone to the cellar, and I was like right on the corner of McDougal Street, and he was there, and he was the most depressing looking person of all time.
Probably.
And I actually just watched him because like Fat Black Pussycat was like loading in a new show, and I was like, I wonder if anyone's gonna recognize this guy. And he walked by the whole thing.
Nothing.
And no, not one.
That is what I
person.
like about New York. It's kind of a great equalizer where like Succession is probably a top 3-5 show in the world right now, and like
Is it not in terms of ratings?
well,
though.
no, yeah, you're probably right.
It's
But
top three in terms of like how good it is.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, quality, but when you're on a Sunday
That's some
night
coastal
HBO
elite
show,
shit. You think people in Toledo are like, we got to watch Succession?
I
I
almost think they have a more of a fetish for it with like the billionaires on the East Coast.
Yeah,
Look how
right.
they live.
The way
Right.
we like Yellowstone?
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
Look at him with those,
exactly.
with that cattle.
You almost couldn't even come up with that word.
Yeah.
Look at them with those cows and those
Stuff.
horses.
I gave up on it. I couldn't.
Bro.
The daughter's unhinged. It got to a point where I was like, so she's the drunkest and the smartest in the room?
It was
That's
crazy,
not a real
dude.
person.
And she's also like can take a superhero beating. Oh, the whole family survived a bomb or a machine gun attack.
Oh, I skipped out before the bomb happened.
There was one episode like
a lot.
it was a coordinated attack on the family. So like spoiler alert, Beth gets blown up and Casey gets shot. Kevin Costner gets gunned down with like an AR-15 and left in one of the middle of those roads where there's like nobody.
Yeah.
And like
Oh, wait,
help
that rings a
doesn't
bell.
come for like 20 hours and he just lives. The whole family
Season
lived.
5, they're going against Thanos. From the
Yeah,
Avengers. It's a bit much.
It started out great, and then
Exactly.
Taylor Sheridan is another guy who I feel like is probably insufferable to be around because every single thing he does now is regarded as like he's this modern day cowboy and this amazing.
Well, because he wrote himself in as the. You don't get to write yourself in as the best cowboy. That's like when Brad Pitt put himself in 12 Years a Slave as the guy who saves the slave. You just cast yourself as the hero white. What are you doing? That kind of
hell of a move, man. It's a hell of a move in this climate.
Yeah, and that but the fact that Taylor Sheridan, and look, he's written some great shit, but at the same time, like, he just shows up. Those scenes are too long when he's doing like tricks.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, when the horses are spinning around, I'm
Yeah.
like, get back to the fucking, wheeling and dealing and the politics. So there's Yellowstone. Then they're doing 4 6s. They did 1923, 1893. I heard they're going to do one in the 40s and the 60s.
Shut up.
And
That's the same show.
And then
that's
there
not
was-
even like far enough apart to be a different generation. It's the same people.
It's the same family. and there was like another one on. And then he just did the Stallone thing
Tulsa King.
and the mayor of Kingstown or
Yeah.
whatever. So he had like 8 projects, 6 of which were basically the same fucking show.
Wow.
I think he
yeah.
owns Paramount Plus.
If he doesn't own it, he gets like 90% of the revenue.
I want a fucking Succession extended universe. I want like
Yeah, right?
I want
How
like
come
an 80s on
give me-
coke.
Give me all of
You
that.
know?
Give me the Brian Cox origin story. Give me like, let's
Yeah.
do every
That would be
generation of this
pretty cool,
fucking family.
actually.
I need a
Just crushing
Tom
people.
Wobscam's fucking movie like right now. Give
What's
me,
that?
He's the
Tom
best.
What's his name? Tom
Yeah, you know that guy.
Wobscams. I can't say his name.
The
Greg the
whipped
Egg and
husband.
Oh,
Tom.
yeah,
I want
Tom.
to see him all the time.
Yeah.
It is
British
pretty.
guy.
He's British.
Yep, one of the new ones.
They're all foreign.
Dude, they're all. It's.
They're taking our jobs.
These motherfuckers.
I actually read an article about that once, where it was like, why can other people do accents and Americans can't do other accents?
Because we're fucking awesome.
It was like the
Same reason we don't learn another language. We don't give
don't
a
have
shit.
to, yeah.
Same
Like,
reason we
fuck
use
your other
inches.
thing. We're better here.
Yeah.
Have you guys been to the moon? Not interested in your accent.
Although, have you seen The Crown? You got John Lithgow as Churchill.
Oh shit! That's
So
right.
that's
was
like
nice to
the
see it go
only
the other
fucking
way.
one.
I know, but it was nice to
But
see it
wait,
go
so
the other way.
what was their reasoning though?
It was just to be a movie star, you have to be American.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you have
fuck
to be able
it.
to do American movies.
Yeah, it's like why don't we like you don't take a step back, you don't step down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do the West End if you want to come to Hollywood. Learn how to do an
Yeah,
accent.
fuck that. The I will say though, they have Costner to play John Dutton.
Yeah,
They got
he's
Harrison
great.
Ford
Yeah.
to play in the other one, and now Costner's stepping away and McConaughey is stepping in. So-
Wait, what is that? How is that happening?
So basically, like,
They're gonna kill him off.
yeah, either kill him off or I'm assuming kill him off because they.
He's got to get
This
a
is such-
Scarface death at this
Has
point.
to.
You can't,
He has
you
to
can't get
like,
shot by an
literally
AR-15 and
explode.
then
Yeah.
die of food poisoning or something.
Right. So his contract initially said you have to shoot for 65 days out of the year. Then it became a hit, and he was like, I'm only doing 50. And then this latest season, he said, I'll only shoot for a week.
What?
And they were like, all right, we can't do this anymore.
Damn.
So he basically like
I'll give you
played
guys an
himself
hour on
out.
Tuesday.
Yeah, basically. I think that was his way of quitting without quitting. It's like you're gonna make you fire me.
Yeah, make it your
So
fault.
he's gonna like die or whatever, and then McConaughey's gonna come in as another Dutton or I don't know what else. Like who fucking knows?
He's
but
pretty cool,
like
though.
they get, if you get Harrison Ford, Kevin Costner, and Matthew McConaughey all in the same
And
like
Helen
franchise.
Mirren.
Helen
Helen
Mirren,
Mirren, yeah.
just, like Tim
Yeah,
McGraw,
heavyweights.
Faith Hill. I mean,
Almost
baller
as
shit.
impressive as Fast and Furious.
I can't. They're,
Family,
they're
bro.
making. a
That's
lot
the
of
real
those, huh?
family.
That is.
I feel like you would absolutely loathe those movies.
I haven't seen any of them.
You haven't seen any of them?
No, I haven't.
That
seen
is that's borderline un-American.
Really?
Like that is as that you are.
Well,
a
you
terrorist.
just saw your first, right?
No. I've seen the first 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I thought 5 was the first one.
And
you
I've
watched.
seen like bits and pieces.
Let
of
me
pretty
preface
much all
this
of them.
by-
I've watched the Hobbs and
I'm
Shaw.
going to preface this with I can't drive.
That's right.
So
You are one of those
cars
when you
don't
were in
really
New York City.
dazzle me.
You need like
I'm not a car guy either. I'm a family guy.
You make a movie about a speed walker. I'm fucking in. No, I
you
just
need like a
wasn't-
subway version. You need like a
Taking
like
a Pelham 123.
Yeah,
The
there you
original
go.
is one of my favorite movies of all time. Walter Matthau. That's like a dingy New York terrorist movie. That's
for
a great
sure.
movie.
Yeah, you need like fast and frequent stops is your version of the fucking.
I remember Joe List got so mad at me once because we did a road gig together, and he was like, "We'll split the driving." It was like 30 hours. We were like stopping. This is like 12 years ago, maybe more. And I was like, "Yeah, we'll split the driving."
Totally.
I have a license. So I'm like, I could bullshit my way through a few hours of driving, and then I get in the car, and he's like, "Dude, what are you doing?"
you don't even know. You don't even like know what to do.
I said, and he quotes this at me all the time. At the time, I just said, "I'm good going straight. The turns always get me." And he goes, "The turns." I was like, "I'm sorry. I'm bad at turns."
The turns get me.
He was panicking, and he needed to sleep. He was still drinking then, so that whole gig was a nightmare. I've told this story in other podcasts, but we were doing a gig at a casino in Milwaukee, and I remember It was during the playoffs. The Brewers were in the playoffs against the Cardinals, and Cheap Trick, the band.
Hell yeah.
They were in the music room was under construction, the casino. So Cheap Trick was in the comedy club. And we were then pushed to the bar where they wouldn't turn off the game because it was the playoffs.
Forget it, yeah.
So List just goes on before me, and he's just like, he's bombing because they're not listening to him.
I wouldn't even try. I'd be like, let's just watch the game together, guys.
We were switched who would get to go on, and there's another thing about the gig that pissed List off. He'd been doing comedy longer than me, but we were billed as co-headliners, but for some reason my poster was huge, and he was like this big next to me, and he was like, I fucking hate you. So he was already in a bad mood. He's up there going on, and it's not going well, but he's killing me because List bombing is hilarious. So I'm dying laughing because he still has witty shit that he's saying. Yep. But at one point he goes, oh, fuck the Cardinals. I mean, fuck the Brewers. I'm glad you're getting your asses kicked. And they start like booing. It's getting bad. And then he goes, all right, you guys ready for Sam Morril? And they're like, boo. I'm like, oh, fuck. So I had to follow that. And I just see him in the corner with a beer, like smiling.
Fuck you.
Whatever. I mean, it was a funny. And then we watched Cheap Trick in the other room.
So what? Then he's hungover as shit and has to drive the whole way because you don't know how to operate a car?
He drove me home in a blackout. I didn't know he did that from the casino. He's down. It was one of those things where he was down at the tables a lot. Yeah. And we weren't getting paid that much, but he was down and he came over and he's like, how are you doing? I was like, I broke even. In my head, I'm like, I won a couple hundred. I felt bad. You don't want to say it. Yeah. But he goes, all right, let's get out of here. I'll drive us back. And he drove us back. And he was a good blackout driver. I didn't know. He also could hide his alcoholism.
The turns, yeah.
I saw him drinking, but I was like, "You're good, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm good." And I mean, good, drunk, sober. Like we all have different definitions, I guess. But he goes, "I'm good." He drives us home or to the hotel, and it was fine. He was a better blackout driver. That's one of those.
Like, I've had guys the next day be like, "Who drove home last night?" And I was like, fucking you, dude.
I know. No, I was pissed. The next day, I was like, he goes, how did we get back? And I said, are you kidding me?
I had a buddy.
That's a question you never ask.
If you don't know, and there's a chance.
It might have been me.
It was one of those weird gigs where we were getting paid shit, but we were in the Milwaukee Athletic Club, which was a sweet hotel. Yeah. It was also, when you're like a young comic, you'll joke around with people. You'll say, oh, does your room have a hot tub? And you're like, huh, yeah, very funny. And then he did that, and I was like, yeah, dude, come on, you're making that joke. And I go to his room. For some reason, he was in like the presidential suite, and I was like, thank God he got this shit, because if I had that and the bigger poster, he never would have talked to me again. He was already so fucking mad at me from that whole week.
I had a buddy once. He came to my place in Hoboken, like fresh out of college, blacked out all weekend. They needed to drive back to Philly, and my one friend didn't drink. The other guy was hammered all weekend, like was pretty much like hammered drunk. That same guy also forgot his glasses, and my one buddy was like, I'm too tired to drive, dude. Like, you got to do it. And he was like, I'm drunk and I can't see. And he was like, I just don't want to do it, man. And I watched those guys drive off together, and I was just like, I don't know how this is gonna work. I remember being like, well, they're either dying or going to jail. I don't know how this one works, but he was content to. Yeah, they made it fine.
You drunk drive in Manhattan, you're a psycho. I can drive in New York City. I can't drive anywhere. Like New York, it's like there's lights. I can kind of obey. I think I got a handle on it.
That makes
a lot
of
turns though.
It's
a
turns
grid.
Get me.
It's 90-degree turns.
Get me. Forgot about all the
turns.
turns.
Go all the way down and around.
You know what my grandfather used to do, which is the most gangster move ever, I thought, is he was an alcoholic, and he used to just drive around with O'Douls, and he'd have it hanging out the window, like just fucking crushing O'Douls,
come and get me.
I mean, he's like it's non-alcoholic. I mean, it's like 0.07 or whatever the fuck it is, but he would just have like cans of crushed O'Douls in the backseat of his car.
You're just making everyone around you nervous. So you see a guy just pounding that,
the most alcoholic shit of all time, just like crushed O'Douls.
I need a beer in my hand all time.
I always thought of that scene in Son of a Woman when Al Pacino's just blind driving. And it's like, set up as this cute scene, but I'm like that's fucking, that's not
ever.
What if he just like killed a fucking woman with a stroller? That's a different movie. That could have happened, but it's like, this is fun. He's a free spirit.
I was just looking at this before I came in here. Have you seen these chicks?
No.
These prison baddies
No.
are going viral. These are
These
are just chicks in prison who just posted this picture looking all hot. And they're just going viral as like these fucking super hot convicts.
Dude, OnlyFans by 6 p.m. tonight.
Right? Oh, I mean,
I wonder.
I don't know how. I don't get exactly. I've known this for a while now. Like prisoners, people in jail, like doing TikToks, and they clearly have phones and can post. I don't I don't get what that means. They're just
Yeah,
because
I
then
don't get-
jail's
you don't
not
get
that
their
bad.
rights,
If I
yeah.
can just fucking if you promise not to rape and beat me, and you give me my phone, I can do jail.
Oh,
and I understand
would-
those are two big caveats.
You got to get a good lawyer
But-
for that. Your Honor, you got to promise not to rape my client here. He can't get very rapeable. No, it's
But I mean,
I used to have a
he's-
joke about like prison. They have prison dating sites, and I remember like they had like real profiles where like at first we were making fun of it, but then you're like some of these chicks are pretty hot.
yeah,
and then
these chicks would rip your dick right
but
off.
the profiles would say like I love the outdoors, and I was like I bet you do. Bet you do like
No
the
fucking
outdoors.
kidding.
But
we all love what we can't have.
yeah, but no, they do have rights, I guess. I mean, I don't know how many rights.
is one thing, but like, I mean, I guess you get, you trade like cigarettes for a cell phone or some shit. But then these guys go like viral on TikTok, and there's not some like correctional officer being like, "Hey,
what the fuck?
Your account has 10 million followers. What the fuck is going on?"
I know nothing about prison. I also have that dumb fantasy where I think like, man, you ever think as a guy, you're like, if I went to prison, I would get fucking shredded. But then
Always.
but then I think about it, I'm like, I have access to a gym. I have access to good equipment.
Well, you have access to everything else
That's the
too.
thing. It's the
you
lack.
have access to Netflix.
There's nothing else to do.
I know, but I think what would happen is I would like day one pull my neck on one of the bad devices and then just be like the dude they attack.
Yeah.
I don't think I would definitely not get shredded.
I always think of like I would read every book and I would do push-ups all day long. I would do none of those things.
I
I'd just sit
wouldn't.
there.
I would be the coolest guy though. I've long said I would crush prison.
Really?
I think you would be
I'd just be
hated
like,
in prison.
I don't know,
I think
dude.
there would be guys being like, "Yo, shut the fuck up!"
yeah. Is that annoying ass laugh happening again?
Like down the hallway around. Yo, shut that white boy up!
I've never heard someone say I'm gonna crush prison.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I think I would. We actually have Wallow, who works for us. He went to prison for 16 years.
Wow.
And
He's always said it.
for
He was
what?
like, "It's armed robbery."
Armed robbery.
He's fully reformed now, but he was like, "Yeah,
cool.
it's not that bad."
my first question, I was like, would I have to become a white supremacist? He's like, no, dude, no one's a white supremacist. I was like, then I'd do great. Then I'd be unbelievable.
I think they would be furious if like that. They'd figured I was a Jew after a while. They're like, you gotta get out. I got no protection. You're killing me.
There needs to be the Jew sect, and it's like you and like Joe List guys. They're
Just
like,
a bunch of
little
financial
white-
wizards. You just go like, what are you in here for? A Ponzi scheme? Like another one? Jesus Christ, we got to get some muscle in here. This is brutal.
No, you like do other taxes. You help them out.
I have a guy who does my taxes. I don't do my taxes. I don't have. I'm very unskilled.
What would you if you weren't a comic? What would you be?
I don't fucking know.
You got nothing.
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
I'm worthless.
But
dude.
that's like anybody, man. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I have no
What
idea.
would
I
you-
know,
What would you guys be?
Landscaper.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you would work.
Manual labor.
for sure.
With my physique, it's not even a question. I would
It would
never.
not even be a possibility.
I remember doing a couple moving gigs and being like, I'm gonna break
Oh,
down.
that's crazy. Moving is nuts, man.
I have bulged discs in my neck and
Totally.
stuff, and
I'd be shot, man. I remember
you'd be in like some other sports journalism.
I
type
guess
thing.
so, but I don't think I
But
would have
that's almost-
succeeded at it.
I would have landscaped for like 6 weeks and then I'd get fired because I can't have anything that has to I have to be up in the morning.
Done.
I'm gonna get fired.
I'll move you at night.
Dude, like it is.
We're the movers that show up at 10
Dude,
p.m.
this morning, actually, like we had a ton of texts at like 8 a.m. I went to bed at like 8 p.m. last night, and at 8 a.m. my phone started going nuts, and I was like, "You goddamn motherfuckers, leave me alone! I'm sleeping still. I had a full 12 hours last night."
That's a lot of sleep. I don't get sleep because there's always construction. Do you guys just always deal with construction? It's
I
like-
mean, I'm up in the burbs out of the city a
right.
little bit, but yeah, I mean, when you're in the city, it's
nonstop.
nothing.
There's always some shit.
What part of town are you in?
I'm downtown now.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
but it's
You at least get a little bit like after hours, right? Like
at night they can't do it, but
Yeah.
that's why the construction takes forever in New York because they're like you
stop.
get 9 to 5. They take like a 2-hour lunch break.
they're only, they do
You know?
actual work for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, so it just
takes
goes. If you're in the
years.
woods, the construction's done in like 2 days because they're just working the whole time.
Because there's always noise. Once you get out of the city, you can just always constantly hear a lawnmower. At all
Always.
times,
There's always a
lawnmower.
leaf blower, a lawnmower.
But that's not a horrible sound.
No, it's not so bad.
It's a drone. It's just like a.
There's worse sounds like just the buh, buh.
Yeah,
But that's-
jackhammers are insane.
There's no white noise
I remember
jackhammer.
I lived on Second Avenue when they were building the subway for like
Oh,
forever,
shit.
and it was just a constant jackhammer that I was like, you can't possibly still be jackhammering guys. There's just no road left to jackhammer.
When the noise
Fucking
canceling
crazy.
headphones don't work, that's when
That's
you know
when
you're in
it's
trouble. We had an incident on the flight where, you know, a million bad flying stories, obviously, but like we come back from Salt Lake and a woman next to Veter I bring Gary Veter on the road, and she just had a full-on panic attack where like it was bad turbulence, but like you can't be the person who's like, that's insane. Have some self-respect. That's how you want to die?
You need to have like a nosedive drop in altitude for you to scream. That would be my barometer.
I think so.
Like if it's shaking, but it's still horizontal, I think you can scream if the gas masks come down.
Yeah.
Because I would definitely yelp. I'd be like, what the fuck is this?
We did
or
have that
like
once
a quick descent.
We flew to Rochester, and it's so weird. I saw Jim Norden the night before, and he goes, "You're going to fly to Rochester?" And I said, "Yeah, it's like a 40-minute flight." And he goes, "I hate those fucking shaky planes.
the
I always
puddle
drive."
jumpers.
And it's so weird he said that, because the next day, we had this weird thing where I'm with Gary, the woman sitting next to him. We were supposed to be sitting together, but she took his seat, and it was like I'm like, it's a 40-minute flight. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
So, but she was kind of a piece of shit about it, where she was like, "I'm sitting here," and Gary's like, looked at his ticket, he's like, "Whatever."
Yeah.
So, we do that thing where we're landing in Rochester, and it's shaking so bad that I turn around, and I look at Gary, and he's like, "We're gonna crash.
This is it. We're dead.
We're dead." And it's one of the things we were looking for someone for anything. He just gave me like a.
That's it.
He's like,
We
"We're done."
die.
He's like, and he looks. It sucks when you see your friend look scared.
Yeah.
Because you're looking, and then you even look at the flight attendant for reassurance. The flight attendant was like this, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" You can't. You
If
see him
she-
doing this.
Yeah.
So we were freaking out, and then going down, I was like, "We're gonna crash." Takes back off midair,
Yeah.
and I was like,
We gotta
"You
try this
fucking
again."
Top Gunned it?
Yeah.
You Top Gunned it on a commercial flight?" So goes back up, and we're just like, "Is this like a German wing situation? Is he just gonna like go higher and just drop?" I mean, we're fucking dead. And the woman next to Gary starts going, and that was like the only satisfaction we got. I was like, "Fuck this bitch." She was mean to us earlier, but yeah, it was terrifying. Then we 10 minutes later, he goes, "I'm sorry about that. I couldn't hop on. I had to be a pilot." And I was like, "That's understandable." But he goes, "I'm sorry. Yeah, that was pretty bad."
There was a flight recently I read about that apparently like was like 100 feet off the water.
Really?
It went. Let me see if I could find it. It was like, because what was crazy though is it happened in December, and nobody
Which
posted
airline?
about. I want to say it was Delta. Let me see if
Dude,
like
I do go
nobody.
Delta.
Yeah, I'm a Delta guy myself.
I know. But we fly that a lot, so I think.
I had one time when I was in 8th grade, we had a class trip, and we were supposed to go to DC, but 9/11 happened. So I was
sorry.
I was a pretty big victim about that.
9/11 fucked up your plans.
Yeah.
Dude. It's really rude.
We had this girl who it was her first time ever flying.
Yeah.
And her ears wouldn't pop, so she was just screaming, crying on the plane.
That is brutal.
That is brutal. That's like your
Do you
head's
know
gonna
how hard it
explode,
is
you're
to
gonna
just
die.
tell someone like
Stop.
yawn?
Yeah,
Just yawn. Like,
bro, that happened to
Have
me.
you tried yawning?
Where were we?
Yeah, but sometimes they just
recently?
won't pop. If you have a sinus infection or
Bro,
something, they won't.
I got
fucking
off
pop.
the plane. I went home. My whole head
you
was.
told me this
yeah,
story.
I've never been more scared in my life. I
You
was
look like one of the Pep Boys.
I was.
That sucks.
I was just like, what if this is my life now? What if it never goes back? And I never got that satisfaction. It like just slowly got better to the point that one day I was like, oh, I guess I'm not, it's not bothering me anymore. But to not have that release is like, it was a
I wouldn't
United
even
Airlines
get to that
flight.
because I'd kill myself so fast. I wouldn't even.
How long before you kill yourself?
Days.
Yeah, it was
probably
it was,
4 days.
I remember
It's
being like,
pretty rough.
something's got to change.
I mean, it would be. I would never be able to stop thinking about it. So I'd be like, well, this is like I can't think about this forever. So I'll just
we
die.
were in Phoenix, and I was sick as a dog, and we did Mark Norman's bachelor party episode, and Joe DeRosa just like can't stop being like, I went in being like, I'm kind of sick, but I got to rally. It's Mark's bachelor party.
Right.
And DeRosa does that thing. We have a bar in studio, so DeRosa's like, shots! Shots! I'm like, dude, you're 46. You gotta mellow out. Shots! I'm like, all right. I'm like, what am I going to be, the guy who doesn't take the shot?
I know.
I'm 36. I should be at this point, but I can't. I've no willpower. Doing the shots. I'm fucked up. We're at dinner afterwards. We're all pretty wrecked.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, I'm just like, oh, I'm going to be sick for Phoenix. On the flight, I'm like, I'm fucking sick. All right. In the green room, of course, I'm with Gary, who is like a hot chick, who just is the whole time like, you were supposed to take me to Pizzeria Bianco. I'm literally like hanging on by like the shows are killing me. I'm laying on the couch just like, oh, I can barely hang on by. And I was like bummed. Phoenix is a fun city to go out in and stuff and hit the town. Vito the whole time, you piece of shit. I'm eating takeout because of you. I'm trying to rally here. And then on the flight back, sinus infection. Like it was days. It kills you.
I mean, there's just things that the human body can't fucking at a certain age. Nope, no more. Combine them, you're done. This flight, United Airlines.
He is a hot. If you read the text thread, I have a group of people who go on tour with me now. I have James Webb, who films and directed my last special. I have Brian, who's my tour manager, and I have Gary. And every text thread from Gary, whatever anyone says, Gary responds with, "Shut the fuck up and buy me dinner, bitch." That's every text from Gary. Take me out fancy tonight, bitch. And it's always he finds whatever 5-star restaurant and he makes me do it. And I'm like, fuck it. I mean, why not?
This shit was it got to 3,000 feet and then needed to plummet down to 700 feet above the water.
Oh my God.
It was going at a rate of 8,600 feet per minute.
I don't even know what that means.
700 feet from the water is insane.
Insane. And
insane.
it was right after takeoff. So it went up to 3,000 feet. That's not that high. There was some sort of weather. So it just went and
wait, I don't think that's that low.
700
That's
feet?
7 stories, right? That's like how high planes always fly.
That's pretty bad.
It was
I guess 7 stories.
David Tell used to have that bit about the plane crash that then they landed and got eaten by sharks, and he's like, "How unlucky do you have to be?"
For real. Fuck that. Imagine they got subjected to 2.7 times the normal force of gravity. So that's like you're fucking getting all G-forced out, and then they got back to 33,000 feet, and it was just like, we're good. But this happened back in December.
And then they got right back to their normal world complaints. They're like, you don't have the tip-top old-fashioned cans? A minute later, you don't have the pre-made, the V8?
How does this came out on
Can
February 13th?
I rewind Woman King, please?
I heard that's good. I heard that one's pretty cool.
I haven't seen it, but I did see it was on the flight, our last flight.
Flight movie is so important.
A flight movie?
Oh my God.
It's also, now we've reached a point, if you don't have a TV of some sort on your plane, you can't fly that in the air anymore. Like
especially hungover.
We've got to retire those out of the fleet. Like we hopped on. Where did we go? That was like pretty far. One of those cities was like a 4-hour flight with no TVs at all.
Oh, you might need some of them. You have
and
to
I was
your
like,
computer,
"What the fuck is this?"
Oh, sometimes you don't have Wi-Fi in those long ones,
Yeah.
and you're like, "What is this? Fucking Guantanamo?"
What are we, poor?
I'm hungover. I'm trying not to think. I need to distract my brain from how anxious I am right
For
now.
real, that to me is like minimum got to have a plane now, a TV, if not full Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Come on.
Because also I want to cry. Because I'm gonna cry.
You cry like a bitch on planes.
Really?
Dude,
you
I think
it's
it's
a
like,
sad movie.
I
and
think
you
it's like
cry?
scientifically.
It's not
like
even
you cry more
sad
on planes.
movies. He just puts on a movie and starts crying.
Bro, I cried 3 times during Crazy Rich Asians.
Really?
Weeping.
Weird.
At any given moment, you look at John on a plane. He's, we did the gayest thing we've ever done besides hook up with each other was we synced up Fast and the Furious 5, Fast 5.
Fast 5, yeah.
And we like press play at the same time.
That's dudes being dudes.
It was awesome.
Vito and I just did that with Triangle of Sadness.
I loved it.
Wanted to. You want to. It's the movie experience. You get to
Yes.
turn to the person. You
Yeah,
get
right, right.
Yeah.
No, that's a great time.
I was asleep, woke up, he was watching Fast 5, and I was like, tell me where you're at in the movie, and I'll fast forward to it. And he goes, I'll just start over. So he just watched the first hour again with me. But the movie experience, so I'm sitting there. He really loves the shit. I'm fine with it. They're fun movies.
I love it too, man.
I'm watching him, though.
in.
Like we're sitting next to each other, and I'll just see him be like,
Yeah.
like something explodes, and he's like,
fist pumping.
oh, yeah, get him.
Dude,
Looks at me like, did you see that?
Yeah, I'm watching it.
He watched the new trailer for Fast 10. I mean,
It looks fun. I've just never seen one of them. But if someone pushed me to see it in the theaters, I'd probably.
you
go.
should do,
Dude,
watch all 10. We've talked about doing
I
that
can't,
before.
dude.
Yes,
It's
you
insane.
dude. That would be so funny if you guys did. If you did your podcast thing through 10 fucking Fast and the Furious movies, it would be very
Maybe.
funny.
You know what the problem is? I just. I was gonna say I watch a lot of other shit, but man, I tried that sex cult doc. It is going to sound the one on Hulu.
I know what you're talking about.
I don't want to sound insensitive, but like pick up the pace,
Dude,
it's just so slow.
All these docs that are like 6 episodes need to be 3. If they're 8, they need to be 6, and none of them need to be 10.
It makes
like
me furious.
In the very beginning, I feel like they had it right, and then they tried to milk these things and turn them into 10 episodes.
They milk them,
and it just is like this could be a 90-minute movie.
That's why I watch old movies because people were like, "This movie's slow," and I'm like, "It's 2 hours."
Yeah.
This show that you're telling me to watch is 6 seasons, and less happens.
Right.
It's just like you're confused because there's more dialogue, but less is happening.
Right.
It's all this like bait and switch nonsense.
And they tell you like it used to be like the first episode's a little slow. You got to get through that. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then that turned into like the first few episodes, and now it's like seasons 1 and 2 are a little bit slow, but 3 and 4 are good, and then 5 is okay. I'm like, what?
It's so true, and you better be Mad Men if you're gonna do that.
Yeah, it's better. If you're slow, be fucking awesome.
If you're slow,
at the end.
you better be the greatest show.
Yeah.
Or else, why watch?
I can't believe like Walking Dead still has people. I think it's finally over now.
Zombies another genre that just doesn't really.
Zombies
get me
never. I like The Last of Us, but zombies never been.
I hear that's great.
The Last of Us is good. Actually, World War Z I like too, but those are the only 2 like zombie things I ever liked.
It is crazy how they just keep doing it, but people it keeps working. Like
Humans
The Last of Us is.
That's why Shaun of the Dead
so.
was funny because it was like
It's
just he couldn't tell who was a zombie.
But Shaun of the Dead was like mocking that whole genre like 20 years ago, and there's been like 20 years of zombie movies since then. You know what I mean? Like that was a long time ago, and there was enough to make fun of.
Horror is such a big thing, and I just am not that into horror movies. I don't know if like. I feel like Jews aren't huge horror fans.
Oh yeah, you guys, you don't like. You're too.
You guys got enough.
We're like,
we're full. Thank you very much.
We've had enough.
It's enough. Yeah, I'm good. We're not big horror people.
No, you guys are. You're not. You're not.
A thriller's good.
A thriller's good, but you don't like the jump.
I don't like. If it's a psychological horror, I like it.
Sure.
I don't like cheap thrills.
I feel like you're not
scares.
gonna like. I don't think you would like fake like fantasy fantastical type.
If it's
shit.
good, I'll like it. You know, I don't like slashers. I like Scream because I feel like it was kind of making fun of that shit.
Scream's coming to New York. This one. Scream 6 is in Manhattan.
I can't believe they're making a 6.
Oh yeah,
Isn't
they might go to 10. I can see them
Is that still
getting,
the Weinsteins?
I would imagine not. Right?
It
can't.
It can't be.
I don't think that's.
So.
Still
I think
a
it
thing,
is.
Is it? There's still like Weinstein production company.
No, I'm sure. No,
I mean, he's definitely not Harvey.
No.
He's not zooming in from prison. I know prison tech's gotten pretty good, but I don't think he's
hot chicks.
You know,
Scream 6 is like New York, new rules or something like that is the tagline, and it's like got like Ghostface like in the skyline is the billboard. I was like,
it perplexes me that he's just called Ghostface.
Ghostface, yeah.
Like whenever someone says, I think they're talking about Ghostface Killer.
Yeah, no,
I'm always like, we mean Ghostface,
right?
Isn't it?
I just call him like the mask, the Scream guy.
Yeah,
that's
Scream
just the
Scream guy.
That was a big modern one like that. I feel like I
first
grew
one
up
is
on
so
like
good.
Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees, Chucky. And then, I mean, I guess it wasn't
Did
that
you
much.
just refer to Jason as his government name?
Yeah, man. Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger.
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
I'll count that. Yeah. Michael Myers.
Yeah, Michael Myers.
Jason
Those were all like
Voorhees.
70s and the 80s. And then I guess Scream was like mid-90s, so that's not that long after. But I felt like that was like a new classic.
It's a lot of
like,
cheap shit in those movies, though. A lot of those, like Nightmare on Elm Street, a lot of that shit, like, they made so many of them.
I've never seen any of those.
Really?
Oh, really?
I've never seen Chucky.
The
I've
first
never seen
ones
Jason,
are
I've never
good.
seen Freddy.
Like, the premise is all, Freddy Krueger, like, you can't go to sleep at night. You go to
Right.
sleep and he kills you in your dreams. That's fucking great because you're going to pass out
Yeah,
at some
yeah.
point.
First Nightmare on Elm
But then
Street,
they milk
Johnny
it,
Depp
and they-
is in that.
Oh, really?
It's either his
Yeah.
first or second movie, but he dies in his bed.
There was always some sex. You're always going to see some titties.
Yeah.
You're always going to see some blood. I was like, I'm in.
I saw the newest Halloween. That's the only one I've ever seen.
That's
of the classics.
insane. That is the craziest thing ever.
I didn't
Like
see it.
he's never seen any of the Halloweens, but he watches Halloween
The newest one.
2023.
Well, you guys are like
I
you
was
guys talk
fucking
about a lot
crazy.
of pop culture stuff on your pod, so I get it. I mean, you got to be kind of in the mix.
Yeah.
right?
That one,
But that's
I did,
what's crazy.
I did LCB. And like that was what we were.
Oh,
so
okay.
I
What's
watched it.
LCB?
Lights, Camera, Barstool is like our movie podcast here, and I was like a
okay.
guest on it, and that was the movie they were reviewing.
To not know like
But-
anything about Michael Myers and then just jump into probably the 12th or 13th installment of the
But
series.
what I learned is that there are multiple like timelines.
yeah, it's like this one. She's
like,
alive.
oh no,
this
that one
he's dead.
didn't count.
Yeah.
What do you mean I didn't count?
Well, coming from the Fast and the Furious guy, where people just
Bro,
come back to
but the
life.
Fast
I don't
and
want to
Furious
fuck.
usually has
I don't
some
wanna
kind of
hear
explanation.
it. No,
They're
they
like-
don't.
I don't like the horrors where it's just people getting stabbed. I like Misery, where Kathy Bates, kidnaps him.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like really creepy to
That
me.
is the-
that's like
that's
real
scary
and
shit.
creepy. I just
What about like Saw?
I never saw any of them.
Saw is cool because there is like this psychological factor to it, and then they're also like we'll watch rats eat your face, and it's like
But it's
holy
like
fuck,
torture
shit.
porn. It's like
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
it
there's
very
the,
much
the-
is.
there's the gore side of it, but it is matched with like there's some psychological shit behind it
There's
too.
that one scene.
I know people love these movies, so I'm pissed. I mean, man, Norman and I caught so much shit for trashing the new Batman movie. Everyone was like, "You didn't get it."
That's my number one thing. If you don't like a Kanye album, if you don't like some fucking hoity-toity movie, you just don't get it. No, I get it. I understand it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's
Yeah, I'm an
Batman.
adult.
I got it.
Yeah, like wait,
It
what's
went
not
over
to
my
get
head,
about
dude.
Batman?
Penguin, what?
Yeah.
What happened?
How could you not get Batman? It's the same thing every fucking time.
I like the movie. I thought it was fine. I've seen it once. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I think I got it.
Yeah,
I think
I got a pretty good grasp of what we're
understood
doing
it.
here. Yeah. What is so if you're not like I feel like you're old movies guy.
I love old movies.
Yeah, you're just a Jew from the wrong generation, man. you just
Well,
need to be.
I'm glad I wasn't a Jew in that generation.
I was gonna say
Because I was
you're
gonna say, I like
lucky you are.
1940s movies,
You're lucky
and
you are.
I mean,
Actually, I'm from the proper generation.
better to be an old soul than
The
dead.
dead one.
Yeah, no, I love like old noir where like
Yeah.
detectives pounding drinks. And
Totally.
there's like a femme fatale. And,
Yeah.
and the dialogues. I love. You ever see like one of my favorites? You ever see? There's a movie called Murder My Sweet, and just the lines are so funny. Like, there's a line he describes an old woman. And he goes, "She had a face like a bucket of mud."
Yeah, that
Like,
kind of
that's
shit.
hilarious
And
dialogue
with that like
or
mid-Atlantic
monologue to me.
accent, I could see
Yeah.
you like sipping in the shadow, like you're sipping a whiskey, and you're like, "Well, listen here, my dear, it's never gonna be that way, all right, sweet cheeks, like get out of here."
I like good word economy and good language in movies, and I love that late '60s, early '70s from movies. Those are like that's a
She
great
had a
era.
face like a bucket of mud.
Oh, that movie is some classic lines.
That's got to be one of the most offensive things you can say about somebody.
Imagine her
Face-
knowing that's how
Hey,
he
babe,
felt.
you got a face like a
She's like, I
bucket.
bet I
of
look pretty
mud."
good today. In his head, he's like, it's fucking just a bucket of mud. Awful.
Bro, imagine being the guys like the famous movie stars back when like there was only a few famous people, when it wasn't like every fucking dickhead with a phone is famous,
know.
where it was like there's only like 10 guys who
Yeah.
the world knows, and if you're one of them, you just do whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Well,
Literally
that-
whatever you want to whoever you want, whenever you want.
I just read
at
this,
all
this
times.
book on this guy, Fatty Arbuckle. Have you heard of that guy?
No,
He was
but
the
that's
he
what
was
I
the
mean.
biggest-
That's a great fucking.
He was the biggest silent movie star. He was the biggest comedy star. It was like him and Charlie Chaplin head and head. And
Fatty Arbuckle.
he got framed for a rape and murder, and
Charlie
he lost
Chaplin
his
did
career.
that shit. That was Charlie Chaplin, bro.
No, they
That's
respected
crazy.
each other. They like really, Fatty Arbuckle basically like invented the pie in the face.
Wow.
That was like his gag, and like imagine doing that for the first
Yeah.
time. It's hilarious the way they described him. They're like, Fatty could throw. He was athletic. He could throw a pie anyway. He could throw it this way behind the back. He had great accuracy. But no, it's the most tragic life story you've ever heard.
Wait, so he was framed like he didn't do it? Like it
didn't
was
do
confirmed?
He didn't
Oh,
do it,
my
but
God.
it doesn't matter. Once the tabloids kill you,
Yeah.
I mean, it took him like
Still
6
see-
retrials to get proven innocent.
Wow.
Really?
But he got proven innocent. But
By
I mean,
that point, you're just the rapist.
and then he was back, and he made it back, and he had one movie come out, and then he died in his sleep. He was fat. His nickname was Fatty Arbuckle.
could you imagine being like responsible for like the pie in the face, or like the step on the plank of wood and it hits you in the nose? Like
I know,
all
dude.
that old, or like the first knock jokes.
He got
Or the first,
slapstick comedy, and then you see this guy's life, and you're like, how is? I think they were gonna make a movie about it with Chris Farley, and it was gonna be his big like Oscar turn, but he fucking went the way of Fatty. I mean, like,
crazy.
but Fatty Arbuckle.
Imagine that if Chris Farley made the turn.
He could have done
He's
it.
actually
he absolutely could have done it.
Really, you think so?
Absolutely.
If he wasn't a fucking like raging party animal.
But this guy was a party animal. You know,
so I
I mean,
guess
he
it
was a
would've fit.
drunk. But you read about these guys, you're like, do they all have to have these tragic stories? Like his upbringing was like the darkest shit you've ever seen. It was like made to be a movie. He went, his dad walked out on him, so they're like, take a train to stay with your dad. He goes to this hotel that his dad owned, and when he gets there, they're like, your dad skipped town. He sold the hotel so he wouldn't have to raise his kid. And then he's just like working in the hotel, and they're like feeding him. They're like, look at the fatty eat. And, you know, so he's eating, and then they have a talent night, and he goes up and sings, and he's got, like, he could have been a professional singer.
Yeah.
His voice is that good. So it's this fat kid who can sing, and he's doing, like, you know, shtick on stage.
yeah, that
and
would play
killing.
on the internet right now.
Yeah,
That kid who sings, you'd have like 2 million
Exactly.
followers in a day.
Like that Red Wings kid.
Yeah.
It's the next Fatty Arbuckle. You know? Hopefully not. But, you know, then he becomes a star. And, of course, his dad comes back into the picture. It's
Always,
like
yeah.
classic shit.
Well, I
You
feel
know what
like
I always think about? Like, how's LeBron's dad never come back? Like,
Yeah,
how?
where is he?
I don't think he ever knew him. But, like, does his dad not know he's LeBron's dad?
no, he's gotta. I'm sure he tried at some point.
Dwayne
We
Wade's
just don't
dad had
hear
a
about
similar
it,
thing,
right?
but I think Wade forgave him. But it sounds like he was a pretty bad dad.
Really?
As well, yeah.
Dude, I would
How about
come-
fucking Carmelo getting all
But,
this,
like-
all this Showtime in All-Star Weekend? That was
Do you think
crazy.
do you think the NBA regrets it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he brought nothing to the table. It's not like
Yeah.
it was like, you know, oh, we love to see that. John Stockton and Carmelo are the two most boring, unlikable superstars
Isn't it
ever.
weird- isn't it
like
weird
they
that-
were unbelievable, and I don't even
They
think
were
Jazz
amazing.
fans like them. It was like,
They
"Ugh."
kind of have to. It's a tough thing, but
They are
I mean,
so
there's streets
unlikable.
named after them there.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
was just in
they're
Salt
their
Lake.
biggest thing, you know, to ever hit Utah. But like outside of that,
Them and
like
Joe
if you
Smith.
were like, I'm a fan of the Mailman. I like John Stockton in that era. You are a fucking loser,
Yeah.
dude.
They-
With
they-
all the other choices and teams and shit.
John Starks is a better choice.
Seriously,
That's my other
John
basketball name I can name.
Stockton.
John Starks fucking rules.
I
Don't
mean,
ever-
John
don't you
Stockton-
ever
I had a John
disrespect-
Starks
Don't you
jersey.
ever disrespect John Starks?
I'm from Massachusetts and I had a John Starks jersey.
Yeah,
He
that-
was
he was that kind of guy. He was that kind of
the
player.
man. I love Starks, but you know, it's funny that we all hated the Utah Jazz as kids, and we were right.
knew it. Yeah,
we
right,
were fucking right.
It's like we had
it was like kids are onto something.
we had some sort
Unless
of
they're sleeping with
sixth
Karl
sense.
Malone, in which case they're not. But no, they sucked.
Dude, his quote, they like I guess somebody finally pressed him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, like I already been through all that backlash, and I'm not here to talk about that. So whatever."
Yeah,
Like you just pulled a whatever for
Yeah.
impregnating a 13-year-old girl.
Wait, she was 13?
Whatever, man. Yeah,
she
he
was
20.
12.
I
She
know
was
she
12 when it
13.
happened. Apparently,
I know people have called him a pedophile. I didn't know.
He was 20. She was
What?
like I think gave birth at 13.
yeah.
No.
Yup.
way.
And then he like completely like disassociated from him. And then I think I
You
don't
know
think
what's even worse is I heard John Stockton set them up. He's always setting them up. He's always looking out for him.
He's also.
that's got to be weird when you are like in the 90s.
Bro, what?
You're the Utah Jazz. You're going to the finals back to back. You're like you're fucking a legit team and duo.
They were
but
this
your
close.
right hand man fucking got a 13-year-old.
But it was also a time
Like-
like you know, they probably were like, hey, this is working.
that's I mean like if I found out tomorrow that you impregnated a 13-year-old,
I would fire me.
I think I'm kicking you to the
Would
curb.
you? Because you're also the guy who impregnated a 13-year-old. Would you have the common sense to be like, this was wrong?
I'm
and
probably gonna
this
step away from the show, guys. I got 2 kids to raise.
No, I mean he bailed on that kid, like obviously, and
Yeah.
then one of his kids, I think, made it to the NFL.
He's either pro or college football
and I think
player,
he tried to come back around when that happened.
Really?
And he was like, "Get the fuck out of here." I think I'm not sure about that, but I'm
it's
pretty
definitely
sure.
he's definitely a football player.
Yeah, no, I
don't
know that
at
for
what
sure.
level,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure he like bailed on him. And
Malone
then
was
came back.
shredded even in his like when he came to the Lakers. He was huge.
Dude,
he was a
monster of
dude
a
that
man.
worked out like 10 hours a day. I
How
think.
about when he was just like, when Magic came back and he was like, "I'm not playing with you, man. I'm gonna get AIDS from you."
Yeah.
That makes
Just like,
sense.
no.
That sounds like someone who fucks a kid.
Yeah, pretty much. That's an early 90s.
They don't really understand biology that well.
This is the dude who doesn't understand how the world works. He's like, I'm not going to play basketball with a sick guy,
I will
but
get
I'll fuck
AIDS.
a child.
Yeah. I mean, that is so fucking jacked. And he said something like, yeah, I've already dealt with this backlash. And I'm like, what backlash? The only backlash that has ever happened is people find out about it and go, Holy shit, I didn't know that. And then that's it.
They've done
that's
it. I mean,
fucking it. Nothing else ever
Kudos to
happened
the
to them.
NBA PR for really burying this one.
They kept
They
that
really
one.
buried it.
They kept that so quiet because it's not like he's been like totally blackballed from things, but he also, if you look around, he's never. That's why it was so weird to see him surface. It was
Yeah,
like,
you can see LeBron and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar we're better
we're
people.
gonna be over here. Yeah,
LeBron did a
LeBron is
promise
like
school
a
for
fucking,
kids.
Yeah.
He didn't
LeBron
impregnate them.
is one of the he's like
Yeah.
a head of state almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like a one man charity, like a one man country at this point. And it's
you know
like
how
this
sick it
fucking
is,
Kareem is just a miserable guy, but he's such an impressive guy too.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's such a prick,
and
man.
he's just a deeply
Just
unhappy man. But he's a smart guy. He's a good
Totally.
writer. He's
Very talented.
He's the best of his generation.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's in movies and shit.
it must
all
be
the kung
tough
fu
for
and
him
shit.
to be that great. And when he retired, he was like selling his jazz records, and now he sees LeBron as like a multi-billionaire.
God,
That's got to be
yeah.
tough.
Now LeBron is like as an active player, he's like, I'm gonna buy a team soon. I think.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
you know how much
competing
money
against
you
my
have to
own
have?
franchise tonight.
Oh, there are scrubs in the NBA who are obviously way richer than him, and it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these.
Up until recently, man, if you really think about it, like we were talking about Charles Barkley the other day, and he'll probably end up making way more as a
sure he already
broadcaster.
has,
yeah.
yeah.
Because
I mean,
up
Brady
until
even is. I mean,
Yeah, right,
a lot of
right,
money's in
yeah.
broadcasting.
I mean the amount of money. I mean, I remember like Jordan was signing like 1 year $30 million deals. And then Garnett came in with that like 120 million over like 6 or 7. But everyone else was making like, I don't know, like 25 million over like 3 and shit like that. And then it just, I guess with the TV deals or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck happened, it exploded. But if you were one of the greats in like the 80s and early 90s, and you look at like the money that like a mid-level scrub is making right now, you probably want to fucking put a bullet in your head.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure, like the Pistons of that era, the richest guy was probably making like a couple million.
One of
you
them,
know?
though, invested and is like an insanely rich billionaire.
Specifically
One of the
Pistons?
Pistons?
One of the Pistons.
Really?
I'm sure you could look it up at some. I mean, I forgot who it was, but no, I mean that era. Actually, Isaiah was on my flight to Salt Lake. Isaiah
Really?
Thomas. I didn't say shit, but I kind of.
Dude, Isaiah is one of those guys who doesn't get any love because I think he was just an asshole of a person, but he was fucking
I mean,
incredible.
he's maybe the most underrated as a player.
to get
because 2
forced
rings
off the dream team. Getting 2 rings in that era is like
It's insane.
It was all dynasties, all like impossible to win, and they snuck 2 in, and they're like, yeah,
And Lambeer is so dirty, but he's kind of underrated too because he could shoot.
dude,
he could
that
shoot. He
team,
could.
They
Rodman.
were Rodman,
Dumars.
Dumars. They were all
Was
fucking legit.
Rodman pre-Bulls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was before like he didn't have the hair and all that
Yeah,
shit.
that's what I thought.
He was just a rebound machine. But they had like their own. It was like Jordan had to get through the Pistons, and then but like to be so disliked that they keep you off the Olympic team when it's like you're one of the greatest point guards ever. That shit is.
It's
Like,
pretty
we'll take the
sad.
college kid from Duke instead.
Well, even more fucked up.
Christian
Even
Laettner's
more
on there,
fucked up,
not
who
Isaiah
coached the
Thomas.
Dream Team?
Was Chuck Daly his coach? I mean,
That's
it's like
pretty
fucking,
dark.
That is some seriously. That's bullying. That's what that is. That was fucking bullying, man. To be like, but I think it was just like, yeah, man, that guy's such a fucking asshole, and God knows he was the worst
He
executive
was
of all
couldn't have
time.
been more polite to a guy in the plane who was annoying him.
Was he? He was nice.
He was very nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
he's
seemed
always
like
got that
he's got that
soft-spoken-
soft-spoken, warm smile.
I mean, as a Knicks fan, he pretty much like napalmed the
He,
franchise.
he heard
for
us.
a
He
good,
set
like,
us back
decade.
for sure.
I mean, we weren't exactly headed anywhere, but he certainly did his best to dig that hole a little deeper.
He paid big money to Jared Jeffries, and I feel like there was like an Indiana connection.
That was
And I always
incredible.
liked Jared Jeffries, but like it's
That
just too
was-
much money.
That was a bad one.
But,
Jerome
you know,
James too. Jerome
That
James
was a tough
big
one. He gambled. He
All-
gambled big.
He loved alliteration.
He loved.
He's just looking. They're like, don't look at the stats. Look at the name. It works. No, look, but I remember thinking like I was thrilled when Marbury came here. You know,
Yeah, oh,
you know what?
I
you
thought
know,
Marbury was the answer. I
Isaiah
was
Thomas
like-
was a pretty good drafter, actually. Though.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
drafted
yeah.
T-Mac, I think,
Yeah.
for the Raptors.
Yeah, he wasn't that bad there, but
That was a
everything
great-
else
yeah.
was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Would you, if you could be, you get to be a GM, right? But you go down in history as like one of the worst ones ever. Would you take that?
Yeah.
Would you? I don't know if
I
I would
think it was
want
Not,
that.
so
not if
fun
it was for
in
the
the
Knicks.
moment,
I
like-
would do it if I could do it for like the Lakers or the Celtics. And
Yeah.
I would napalm their franchise, and that way I'd still be good to the Knicks. I'm too big a Knicks fan. I would if I hurt the Knicks, it would hurt me.
Yeah, I
it
mean,
would hurt me to
like-
hurt the
like-
New Yorkers.
It's like same idea of like, what if I told you you're gonna get drafted by the Bruins, but you're gonna be an all-time bust and you're gonna go down in history as like the guy who sucked. Versus like you could just go live a normal life.
No, I still do it.
You get that sweet rookie contract though.
Yeah,
I guess as long as you get a few
I'd actually rather do the GM because the GM you can save that job. You can't really save your job as a player if you're not playing well. But GM, I'm like, I'll just fire the coach.
Right,
and
just
then
blame it on
that
somebody
buys me
else.
3 more years. I could keep a GM job for about 7 years.
Yeah, the most incestual of all of all industries of sports, the amount of like rehiring that goes on.
You guys don't know what I'm talking about, but I always think like I don't understand how John Tortorella still has a job.
Yeah,
John Tortorella's been hired. He used to be the coach of the Rangers.
Like
but
you have
been,
like one good season, somebody will hire you always.
It's like he had I think he had 2 good years.
And
maybe
the rest,
a little more. Well, he had Vincent Lecavier and Martin St. Louis, and I don't know why I'm even talking about this because no one cares.
No, but I know those names.
He had great players, and he had like a few good years, and he's been living off that for 20 years.
Yep.
20 years.
NFL coaches.
I think it was 04 he won the cup, maybe.
As an NFL coach, you come up as a coordinator, you get the job, you're way in over your head, you suck, you go back to being a coordinator,
and then
you're good again, and then you just keep going.
Ryan might go to the Broncos, but then it's like at some point he is a good defensive mind, so maybe he gets another job.
Yep,
right?
and it just keeps going forever. That and a left-handed reliever.
That happens.
If you're a left-handed reliever, you will play baseball until you're fucking dead.
Yeah,
you can do it for 30 goddamn years. It's
Graham Lloyd.
That's a throwback name. That bullpen. I just remember that one brawl where they came running in from the bullpen, and it was like Graham Lloyd and a couple other
he was
like
Stanton
6'9", and a couple other motherfuckers.
Oh, Stanton was tough.
You did not want to fuck
Stanton was another good lefty reliever.
Yeah, they did the run in from the bullpen, but it actually you
don't want to fuck with a dude with a neck like Stanton. He had that thick neck. He would fuck you up.
Back when baseball was.
John Wetland was kind of a badass too.
Yeah, those guys were like, do not fuck with them. That was the last of that's another thing that happened. Like where I feel like athletes became like fine-tuned millionaire machines.
Yeah.
That's a relatively recent thing too.
Well, there's a lot of money.
There's a lot of guys who are just like drinking and fucking and traveling.
Well,
like,
did
whatever.
you see the doc on Jesus Christ, greatest pitcher? Why is it Nolan Ryan?
Yeah, he was
a great doc.
Like
man.
he
fucked up Robin Ventura when he rushed him
shit
out.
out of him.
He was like, "Oh fuck you."
I heard Robin Ventura says like that like he didn't really like get me as bad. Like if you really look at the footage, like it wasn't. It's like,
dude,
you were in a headlock
written.
and he was going like this. I don't know if the punches were landing. You got your ass kicked. That's a fact.
It was a bad look. I mean, I don't know if he actually got hurt, but
yeah, I mean to be like come on, bring it, and then just bam. But yeah, like those guys,
dude, and that dude just lasted forever.
Yeah, when you got like size like that, and the league again, like there weren't like the Balcos of the world. There weren't even the legitimate stuff. Like you have these guys sleeping in fucking hyperbaric chambers and shit. It used to just be like, I don't know, man. I can throw harder than the other guys can, so I get a couple $1 million. That to me is so much better than being like, I don't know. You have to worry about like the TB12 method and worry about every little thing you do. It's just like, I don't know, guys. Let's just fucking play. Whoever's got the best God-given talent.
Yeah, I actually
like that more fun than TB12.
Yeah. What was the thing where he was like, I'll just catch the ball.
It was Gronk was telling a story on a podcast recently about how like he was so hungover at his Patriots meeting before draft day, and he's like, it was the last team I met with. I was so over the process. I just didn't even care anymore. And Bill O'Brien's like drawing up plays, and I was so hungover, and I just kept going, doesn't matter, just throw me the ball. Like he was like, now, what would you do here? He goes, I don't care, throw me the ball.
Yeah,
and
I'll be open.
Yeah,
and
it
works.
He's like, I walked out there thinking they're either drafting me, they're either trading up to draft me, or they're cutting me off the board altogether.
Right. That's how I would much rather be an athlete like that.
I feel like Kelsey's like that too. I feel like you want the tight end to be kind of a meathead.
Yeah. To just be like. Because you're in that in between, you know.
Remember
what I mean?
Jeremy Shockey for the Giants?
Yeah.
There was a couple years where that guy was fun as hell.
I feel like he was the original tribal tattoo.
He's the first one.
I think he was the first one that like was like popular. He was just such a fucking douchebag.
He was
awesome.
That dude who would party and then he would feel guilty, so he'd do like 1,000 push-ups in his hotel room. Which I kind of loved that he was like, I fucked up. I gotta,
I know guys who are like exactly like Jeremy Shockey, like that. Like, just,
he was awesome.
He was good. Yeah.
I had a draft. The last time I ever played fantasy football, I was in college, probably 2007. and my buddy took him. Everyone had like a draft party for fantasy football, but I had class, so like everyone was drunk during the day for this draft party. And the first overall selection was Jeremy Shockey. And my buddy goes, "I like the way he hits," and I was like, "I'm gonna win this league."
First
Damn,
overall
I'll be damned.
pick.
I mean, like he got those hits. He would just
he
absorb,
was-
dude. I mean, like
yeah.
remember Mike Alstott back
Yep.
in the day?
Yeah,
Did you
oh,
see
yeah.
him in that picture the other day?
No.
Dude, it was Bert, Wade Boggs, Mike
Whoa,
Allstott.
No
you guys
way.
were going, dude. Wade Boggs is the coolest.
It was they were in Tampa. Bert went back to Tampa.
By the way, how
that's his
perfect
homecoming.
is it that Wade Boggs now lives in Tampa?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
could
what
not
you.
be
That's
better.
what you want, Wade. I mean, I was such a big fan of his on the Yankees, and obviously Red Sox fans love him. But like, dude,
Wait, did he not post it on his?
that guy
Maybe-
was
I mean,
Wade
I posted
Boggs.
it.
Does he still party hard?
I would have to imagine he slowed down somewhat, just because like
There's a lot of pressure on him now with that
That's
Always
the
Sunny
thing.
episode.
Yeah,
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 right,
yeah.
I
right.
heard stories, but I didn't know he was like that.
Yeah, he's
Dude,
an
like
animal.
64
bro.
beers,
But I'm
whatever
telling
it
you,
is.
Mike Allstott could go play tomorrow. Where is
Really?
this fucking, look at him.
Oh, whoa.
Let me see.
dude.
Just absolutely
That's crazy.
ripped.
Holy shit, dude!
And I
Are
don't
you
know if
kidding me?
if Allstott's a partier or not, but
you get great cheese.
I
on
would
those
imagine
abs.
he can throw him back.
That's
a trio
nuts.
right there.
Dude,
A Tampa
Bert
trio.
is living the dream. He's just shirtless with Wade Boggs.
Yeah.
At no point, and Bert loves baseball, so this is kind of great. Like,
Dude,
he was
that's a
baseball
huge
player.
moment for him.
Holy
like between,
shit.
I mean, I wonder, is that more of a moment as a all-time generational partier or like an all-time baseball player? You know what I mean?
Both.
That's got to be a partier.
To me,
That's gotta be
Wade
a
Boggs.
partier.
Wade
Boggs
Boggs
is a Hall of
was
Famer, though,
He's
dude.
a Hall of
Yeah.
Fame baseball player.
He's a whole, and he wasn't even like that guy. Didn't really hit home runs. They were just
no, he
all
was one of those guys who was
line
like, oh, I'm
drives.
gonna bat 370. Like fuck you. But
Dude,
that, I
I
mean, that
remember
is
back
look
when
at
he still hit
Allstott,
300.
dude.
I mean,
I don't even think I thought he looked like that when he played. I always thought of him as like a compact guy. He's a fucking Adonis, man.
He's a
That's an
tank.
all-time picture right there. Yeah, he's on a run right now.
Yeah.
That is pretty fucking. That was just like on his story. He didn't even post that on his fucking
That's
Instagram.
nuts. Yeah.
That to me, I would have that hung over my fucking mantle. We got a taste of the Kreischer life.
It's tough. He will. I saw the pictures you were posting. I mean, it'll take a toll on you.
Yeah.
It's like Bert is like Vegas. He's great for a day.
Yeah, that's what I can't.
You know?
I was
And
like,
we got it for like 2 weeks because we saw him in Amsterdam and then we saw him in Phoenix.
we had like a
So we had, like,
back-to-back
a full-
Bert experience, and yeah, it is like Vegas where you go home and you're like, oh, people are there. There are some people who are there all the time. That's
Yeah.
just Bert. He's there. He's living Bert's life
Yeah.
all the time.
Well, it's like Vegas, but it's the machine always wins. You won't win.
Yeah.
You're not winning this drinking game.
No, for
Because
sure.
he'll wake up and he'll be like, Campari Spritz. And you're like, dude, we had everything last night.
I was so pumped. I think we partied hard enough that he didn't want to do his workout. The original idea was to like do one of his crazy, like 500 burpees and 200 push-ups and all that
Yeah.
shit. And I was like, I'd rather drink myself into a coma trying to drink like I'm a kid again
Yeah.
than do any of the exercise. But that ended up, I think we all slept through that. But that
No,
was.
I've gotten a taste. I remember even like years ago opening for Bert at the Hartford Funny Bone. That's how long ago this is.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like going light that weekend with drinking, and still he was drinking. He was still like him going light was like doing shots and just like drinking out of the pitcher of a beer. And
I
was
can't
like,
imagine we were keeping up and like hanging on, but he's 50.
Yeah, right.
Like
right.
he's way out of his prime technically, and still an absolute
Easy,
animal.
Don Lemon. Jesus Christ. No, he.
I can't imagine what he was like. He was like 20, 24, 30. Like,
Well, he's got
early
to
days.
slow down at some point.
You know,
I don't think he's
people
gonna.
say
I don't
that.
think he's gonna.
I think there are certain people in this world. He calls it the Mickey Mantle gene. It's like it's just.
I don't know if you know how it ended for Mickey
I
Mantle.
was
It
saying, we've
wasn't
been talking
pretty.
about drinking so much this episode. Colin, could you grab 3 glasses, please?
Yeah, let's pour some out. But I think you're probably right. Like, but it's not like he'll die anytime soon. It's not like you
I
know
hope
what I mean.
to God not.
Like,
Jesus,
fucking
got
knock on
dark.
wood, but like
I wasn't trying to go there. Bird is going to be dead soon.
I just there are people who whether it's their attitude or partying. Like I have a friend who's like very fresh and always got a fucking comment, and people say, one day that's gonna catch up with you. Like you're gonna say it to the wrong guy, and he's gonna like pop you in the mouth, and he's like, no, That's not gonna happen. It's never happened.
Who was this friend? Chris Rock.
Yeah, I mean, I guess those, it doesn't happen until it happens.
No.
But sometimes I think those people who you say like, you gotta you're gonna catch up with you one day for whatever it is. It's like, nah.
Yeah.
Chris
There are
Rock's new
certain people
material,
who
by
just
the
do
way, is fucking awesome.
Is it? Yeah.
It's
I mean,
so good.
he's about to do a.
I followed him the other night at the Cellar, and I
Oh,
I made the mistake of just being like, I wrote some new shit today. He's literally playing the hits for his special.
Was he?
I mean, he's still figuring out a couple things, but like it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And I'm going up there and I'm like, I tried this. Let me try this joke today, and it's just bombing. I'm like, yeah, maybe don't follow the greatest
No,
comic.
but you know what? I almost think that is the move.
Sometimes you have
it's
to.
almost going to be impossible anyway.
No,
so why
usually it's
don't-
actually easy to follow a legend
Because, like,
the
the
crowd
crowd
is like,
is
yeah, they're
rolling.
playing with house money.
Yeah.
Their night is made.
That's a good point. That
I
makes
very
sense.
much like that as a fan of comedy. I like when I go and like we saw it with you. This is probably like 2 years ago now, but like you
Yeah,
had,
when you-
your book out. It was like
Yeah.
heavy pandemic. Like,
Oh my God! Remember that?
Yeah.
I like
you guys
that,
came
though.
to that little hotel.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
that was-
I was just trying to survive.
Yeah, but that was what was cool about it. Like there was a couple moments the crowd was riding with you. There was a couple moments where they weren't. It was like,
But it's
this
like
is
a
like
glimpse behind the curtain. We're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is how like comedy happens.
Totally.
Like I find that more enjoyable than like a perfect special. And then we come
Agreed.
like, okay, because it's all worked out.
Because
now.
you've
I like
seen
seeing it.
you've seen the glossy shit. For you, it's more interesting to see
Yes.
to me too. I love
especially
watching
when it
comics
is like
work out.
perfect. It's like I know that this is like the 250th time you've done this. You know what I mean?
know.
And you're even your laughing is probably rehearsed at that point.
I
and
can't
your,
do that
Your
shit.
pauses and all
yeah.
that shit. Do you want some?
Yeah, what is it?
This is. Do we have any of our specific? I know we got your. Do we have yours still here? Yeah. Where's what?
What is this? Whistle Pig?
Yeah, we got Whistle Pig, but we have yours here.
Oh, you have mine?
Bodega Cat? Yeah.
Let's do Bodega Cat. I'll do that. You guys haven't tried it yet. It's unopened.
I haven't tried it. No.
Give it a shot.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh,
Oh, that's
good.
really great.
That's good stuff.
It is good. I mean, we are Whistle Pig through and through, and we've been tasting like some of the best bottles they've had. But
That aftertaste
holds
is
up.
really good. Yeah, it's like that little caramelly, vanilla kind of hint. I love it.
And
Were
you
you guys involved in like the process of it?
Yeah. Oh my God. Mark and I taste testing. They're like, yeah, you're not supposed to swallow all the.
Yeah,
we were
got
fucking
fucked
wasted.
up.
Like,
we got
bro,
fucking hammered.
We did it. This is insane too. I love Whistle Pig. Whistle Pig's the best. It was at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
So we woke up at
we had a
7:30
whole
to have a
day
whiskey
planned.
tasting.
It was like we wanted to like film for the vlog. So we had like disc golf and fucking like relay race, all this shit, you know? And we did that in the afternoon and the drinking in the morning.
Oh no.
Rather than waking up and doing like the fun shit and then be like, all right, we're done like working out. Let's drink at a normal time. And I remember they had a whole breakfast spread. I was eating quiche and all this shit. We had a whole tasting. I threw up in the fucking bathroom.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't think I do this.
No. Didn't this just come? I think you found this out when you were wasted. And you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I did tell you recently, and then I think you blacked it out. But yeah, we had
like a drive
we were all
home.
mic'd up and everything for like the tasting, and I like got up. and
Oh,
I was
yes,
just, like,
okay, the
I started
bike.
to sweat and everything. And I didn't think I was gonna throw up. I was like, I just gotta go to the bathroom and like splash some water, take a sip of water, I'll be fine. And it just came over me. So and then they're going through all like the audio for the fucking vlog, and you just hear, and it was one of those pukes like where you have a lot in your stomach, so it's just coming out. And I just like dusted myself off and went back out there and was like, more tasting, let's go.
Respect.
It was just like so
You
much
kept
whiskey.
going.
Oh yeah, I mean, we were there for like the weekend to do whiskey tasting. I was like, all right, we got to keep going here. But
That happened to me and Norman. I remember we were opening for Schumer in Orlando. It was years ago. It was me, Norman, Rachel Feinstein. It was like the most fun crew.
Yeah.
And of course, we're like in our hotel. She had this huge hotel room. We're just whiskey, wine, everything. We're bombed. I just remember the next morning at the Orlando airport, just puking my guts out. And Norman does the classy move, hands a ginger ale over the stall.
what a guy! That's a friend.
Yeah.
That's a friend right there, dude. It was we had Bert, Shane, and Mark on to do like a 5-man like
Oh my god.
And they were all so hungover. I think Shane said like 4 words. At one point, he said, "I choose not to participate."
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He just like opted out of the podcast. Mark was just like back in his chair, and he was like, "Ah!" Thank God for Bert, who just talked for like an hour straight.
Yeah.
But everybody, I mean, hungover podcasting in the Arizona sun was not.
Bro, I'll
not
tell you what,
ideal.
I was sneaky the most hungover out of everyone
Yeah,
there.
but you power through it unlike anybody I've ever seen before. John will finish the podcast and be like, "All right, I gotta go to the hospital." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, man. Like my blood pressure's like 200 over 180. I gotta go."
You're like an athlete.
Something like
that. He is like a Bert. Like when we were going to Amsterdam, people were like, "Oh, like are you guys nervous?" And I was like, "I am. Like I haven't partied ever like him, but not even close, even in my prime." John can go toe-to-toe with anybody in the world.
Wow.
Like, I'll put him up against anybody. But then afterwards, he'll be like, "Okay, yeah, I'm going to go die now." Like, check myself into the emergency room.
But I kind of pace myself. I don't want to get to that point.
Yeah.
You are. I even just like watching you. I'm like, that's a respectable drinker.
Yeah, he's a human. He's a real human.
I'm not.
That was what was nice about Amsterdam was it was like we didn't do many shots. It was just like beers and joints, and the shots are what gets you because it goes hyperdrive, It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, you've had a couple drinks. Well, now you've done 2 shots. That's doubled. You know what I mean? And
I
then
want to enjoy it. is the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I don't want to get to a point where I'm like, I'm just doing this to numb something. I want to actually
Yeah.
like enjoy the buzz. The same way I drink coffee. I want to like feel the buzz and enjoy it.
Yeah,
I think
don't like coffee.
when I was like in my early drinking days, it was just about getting fucked up. Like how much could you drink? How much can you handle? Just keep going all night long. And then I realized like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I think that's how young people drink. I don't
Right,
think
it's not-
takes. They say drink responsibly in all the ads, but you're just like, yeah, whatever. And then you're an adult. You're like, oh, it's better
That-
if
it makes way more
it actually
sense.
Feels better.
Yeah.
I
Like,
still occasionally
just maintain
will
a
go.
buzz. Oh,
I'll fuck up every once in a while, but then you don't feel as bad. When you're the dude who just keeps fucking up,
Yeah.
the hangovers get worse.
They get
and
real
worse.
bad.
that's the real problem too. I mean, the hangovers got to me to the point where I was just like, it's not worth doing this.
See, I
For
never
the
had
10,000th time. I've done this a million times before. Like
my hangover is never physical. It's always anxiety.
And that's the worst one. I mean,
That's the worst
I was
one,
working
right.
on a joke about how like when you're hungover in your 20s, the anxiety is like, what did I say to that girl? What happened? When I'm hungover in my 30s, I'm always like, did I sign up for Paramount Plus Right? and Peacock? I think I fucked up. No, but I feel like I'm a little less anxious than I was in my 20s. Was worse. I'm a little more secure, but now it's more like you're a piece of shit.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
it is.
yeah.
Now it's also like I gotta check my Twitter. What did I fucking say?
Are you a drunk tweeter?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I was gonna say I follow you. I couldn't tell.
Yeah. No,
Some-
I'm pretty good
I would
about
drunk
it.
tweet sometimes, and it would always just be a mess. I remember Louis one time when he had Twitter was just like calling Sarah Palin a cunt on Twitter, and he just deactivated. He was like, I shouldn't be doing
Gillis
this.
is a great
I was
drunk
gonna change
tweeter.
my favorite drunk tweeter.
If you can catch,
Yes.
if you're like awake and you're on Twitter at the right time and he's drunk, you see like 2 or 3 tweets go out and they're the funniest thing you'll ever see, and then by the morning they're gone.
He'll preface it with like I'm about to drunk tweet.
Yeah.
Like he's
and then he'll preface it, I'm about to delete this.
Yeah. I'm
But
gonna
then
delete this
there's-
in the morning.
yeah,
but
yeah.
He had one when he was in Jamaica, and he said, God, what was
Shane
it?
in Jamaica's already like it's like one of the Ernest movies. You're like, what is he doing?
Gillis goes to fucking Montego Bay. It was something about the dogs. Was that
It was. Yeah, I don't want to
It-
even say because I don't want to butcher it.
It was something like like people who don't like America, like
yeah, it was like
reminder
America's
they got
so
fucking
awesome.
like stray dogs running around. Like
He said he had, like we had a 17-year-old kid cosplay as a cop and kill 2 people. In other countries, they have stray dogs like assholes. Like it didn't even make any sense at all. It was so he was talking about Rittenhouse. It was like during the
Yeah.
Rittenhouse trial.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
that anxiety is.
Yeah, that's
That's
that
tough.
next day. It can be bad. I've gotten better at controlling it because you do that thing in your head where you're like, this is just.
What do you
the
think that is
hangover.
though? It's like there's nothing inherently. Like, all right, whatever. You went out, you had too many drinks, no big deal. You're successful in life. You're not
It's
fucking
chemical.
anything up.
It's
you
a
think it
depressant.
really is?
Yeah, I
just
don't
like-
think it's
yeah.
rational. I don't
Yeah.
think I don't think it's like. It's a chemical that's making you sad.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you got next? You got some dates?
I'm in
specials? What are
AC
we
this
doing?
weekend. I'm in Madison. We just bumped up to a bigger room there.
Hell yeah.
Boston, 5 Wilburs. So
Whoa!
I know. So
Congrats,
I'm hopefully
man.
there's hopes we can get to 6 because we're almost
Dude.
done with the 5th one, and then That's coming up. Boston. We got New Haven before that. Get some of that Frank Pepe's pizza. Miami, Orlando. Ponte Vedra, which I hear is Naples 2.0, and I'm like, did I fuck myself? We'll see. I mean, hey, we'll see. And
that's
then
got to be fucking doing 5 Wilburs.
Atlanta, DC, I'm Charleston, Durham. I got fucking West Coast coming, so it's San Diego, LA.
Do you
Sacramento,
feel a
San
pressure
Diego.
to like
SF.
almost like an athlete in your prime, like go, like now's the time to cash in as much as you can?
I just don't know how long it's going to be this good. So
Right,
I gotta
that's what I mean. Like,
I got to kind of get while it's good.
I mean, I think you guys are all good. I was saying to somebody the other day, I feel like we've kind of like leveled out almost in the comedy world. Like it was like there was a gold rush, and there was Netflix, and then there was Patreon, and then there's this podcast, and now everything's kind of like subsided. The cream, rose to the top. You know who's good, you know who's not. Like, what shows, you know what I mean? And like everybody is kind of, it's like if you went the YouTube route, you got your recognition and you got your specials. If you were already lucky enough to have your specials, you're good. Like it just seems like everything, the landscape is kind of set now. Where in the beginning it was very much like you were pioneers, you were trailblazing. Well, I'll do it this way, I'll do it that way, and now there's kind of a method to the madness, And it's like
calmed down
like
little.
it's probably not as much where it's like you get like 5 specials for $20 million each, but there's enough to go around right now that if you got the chops, like you're gonna make your money,
Yeah, you just can't ever get lazy. Like I'm grateful for that the road has been this good. Like we're doing the tour bus, which is so stupid.
Hell yeah, but
but
that's like that. We got such a small taste of it. What we do doing like the live podcast, which is different from what you guys do, but we just did like little swings where it was like a 3-city swing, and by the 3rd city, we had so many more stories, and we had all these things that happened. And if you have a tour bus and you're doing that life, like the material just starts to snowball, and like everything just becomes that much funnier. You get more content on the internet out of it. It's the way to do it is go all in with it. I know like sometimes doing the content is a grind, and you like, especially like I feel like if you want to just write the jokes and just do the comedy.
Look at you guys the same way. I mean, like you guys do this all the time. You're doing the 1 minute man thing.
Yeah, it's just like never stops.
I mean, but it's like, good. You're on it. You're on it the second it happens.
Yeah,
and it's like you got to be prolific if you want to stand out.
Right.
It's.
I think there's 2 ways to go about it. I mean, if you're fucking incredible, and you can just be like, come see me at my shows, and that's where you get me, like, then God bless you. But the rest of us, I feel like it's got to be
that incredible person would have more tickets sold if they were hustling too.
I think that too.
That's true,
I don't think there's any harm. I think you can probably.
It feels good for you. For me, it feels good to be busy. I don't.
Right.
I go down. I'm a little, I don't feel as good. I like to be.
There's,
active.
a lot of downtime if you're not doing in that industry, right? It's like you gotta wait till your gigs, and you're either just traveling or sitting around. Like fucking do something with it, But I think aside from sports, it's the only other like industry where it's like you can like go. You have your like your career's, you've been drafted or whatever. You're in your prime. Like go now, do it. Because
but you could do this forever. I mean, Don Rickles
that's
died. He was still
beauty
doing
of it.
shows.
Yeah.
Joan Rivers. She was.
You'll be like a 90-year-old Upper West Side Jewish guy. Like come see me at fucking the Stellar.
Just some
Let's
pickled
go.
beets in the back. You're like, ugh, what is this rider? This is disgusting. Just eating borscht in my green room. And you guys will be old as shit doing this, and your success is it's cool to watch. You guys are killing it.
Yours has been around long enough that like it's show business. Like you're on stage, that you can do that forever. Old podcasting is going to be weird.
It's going to be.
We don't know,
Old comedy's weird too.
But I'm
gonna have to be like a Vegas guy.
Yeah, I guess that's what. Yeah, you eventually settle
wearing like
into
a velvet blazer.
Yeah.
Jokes. You're like, this is fucking. We brought our kids. What are you doing?
I want you to have a residency when you're like 75 in Vegas
Me and
on the strip.
112-year-old George Wallace.
Yes.
If you could do a residency in any city, what would it be?
Ooh.
I mean, other than New York.
I was gonna say New York is perfect.
Geez, that's tough. I mean, I had a really good vibe in San Diego just because the crowds were so good. And they really just got my humor. So I loved San Diego, which is a weird answer, but SF is great. New York is.
I mean, you're New York's your spot.
Yeah, I mean, I have a great time in Boston. I have a great time in Philly. Any like, any cool big city. I mean, Austin's great.
Yeah.
I was never into Austin. I've only been once.
I'm only there for a day or two at a time, so I'm
Yeah.
not living there.
Yeah.
I don't think I could live there. But I mean, shit, I had a fucking great time in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They were
Did you?
they
Yeah.
were wild. They were so.
Yeah.
I love doing the road, man.
Right.
I just love it. So.
All right, well, go get the tickets. I mean, we've said it a million times. You're one of the best joke writers out there. One of the best
Thanks, man.
performers.
You guys
in
are
the game.
great. It's
also
it's the easiest one to do.
That's what we.
It flies by.
Yeah.
That's what we strive for, man. Good stuff, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
That was so easy. That flew by.
Make sure you subscribe to KFC Radio on YouTube to get all the video content. Subscribe, comment, like, and make sure you turn on the bell notifications so you know whenever new video content drops.
I want to say something, but the video has to be faster. That's it.